Divine ones, you ever walked into a room and felt everybody freeze like they just saw a ghost? No, baby, that wasn't a ghost. That was you, a divine energy they couldn't manipulate. Welcome to the battlefield you never signed up for, but were born ready to conquer. Ever wondered how their so-called master plan ended up looking like a cartoon villain plot gone wrong? Like, what actually happened? Why are they now whispering behind your back, looking confused, defeated, and bamboozled? Let me tell you a real one. A divine one I know got pushed out of her job by people who smiled in her face while plotting her fall behind closed doors. They thought she'd break. They thought she'd beg. Guess what? She leveled up, started her own business, became her own boss. And now? The same people that fired her are sliding into her DMs for help. That's what happens when a chosen one gets underestimated. That's what happens when the enemy thinks they wrote the ending of your story, jokes on them. The author of your life is God, and the plot twist is always in your favor. You didn't just survive, divine ones. You disrupted the system. You left the blueprint shaking. What they meant for evil, God flipped for greatness. They planned your downfall, but ended up watching your destiny rise in HD clarity. So what went so wrong with their master plan? Why did everything backfire like a boomerang with karma written all over it? Sit tight, divine ones, because we're about to peel back the layers on how your light had them tripping over their own darkness. The weapon will form, but it won't prosper, because what they didn't know is divine ones are built from battles and crowned through fire. Watch this video till the very end, divine ones. It's not just tea, it's revelation. If you're tired of being misunderstood, misused, and mistaken for weak, this one is for you. Let's break it all down so you can stay awake and aware on your spiritual journey. Let's go. Point 1. Their plan was built on your failure, not facts. Divine ones, let's talk about those who thought they had you figured out. We've all encountered individuals who doubted us, underestimated us, or outright mocked us. These people, driven by their own insecurities and limited perceptions, often assume that kindness equals weakness, that silence is a sign of fragility, and that your quiet nature means you're clueless or passive. But little did they know, they were misreading the script of your life. The enemy, whether they be individuals or circumstances, thought they had the power to break you. They believed that by pushing you to the edge, by testing your limits and questioning your strength, they would get the reaction they expected. They wanted to see you crumble, to falter, to shrink. After all, you weren't loud or flashy, and you didn't react impulsively. They assumed that would be your downfall. But here's the twist. In your silence, you found your strength. In the face of their tactics, you took the time to heal, to grow, and to evolve. You didn't need to broadcast your journey. You quietly rebuilt yourself, understanding that true strength comes from within. Their biggest mistake was underestimating your resilience. They didn't realize that while they were focusing on breaking you, you were silently strengthening yourself, gathering wisdom, and preparing for the day when you would return. Not as the person they thought they knew, but as someone stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The very plan they had crafted to keep you down became the fuel for your rise. It was as if the universe had seen their intentions and decided it was time for a shift. They didn't see it coming, but you did. You knew that their efforts were temporary, and you held on to something much greater than their doubt. Faith. Faith in yourself, in your higher purpose, and in the divine timing that would ensure your success. And now, as they watch you rise with thunder in your step, they're left in disbelief. They thought they had written the final chapter of your story, but they had only written the introduction. You, Divine One, are the author of your own fate, and now the world will see your true power. Point 2, they underestimated your spiritual rank. There's something powerful about the way you walk into a room, Divine One. People might clock your appearance, sizing you up based on surface-level judgments, but what they don't see is your energy, the force that follows you wherever you go. You don't just take up space, you shift atmospheres. The moment you enter, the room knows it. It's like the air itself shifts, and people can't help but feel it. This is no coincidence, it's the manifestation of your spiritual authority. You carry a unique power that's not easily understood by everyone, but it's undeniable. You speak life, lifting those around you with your words and presence. You exude an energy that forces people to confront their truths, sometimes exposing the lies they've been telling themselves or others. That's the essence of your gift, the ability to walk with divine purpose and authority. What others fail to realize is that they underestimated the depth of your journey. They thought they could get ahead by using manipulation or deceit, not understanding that your life isn't governed by mere chance. It's steered by divine timing, favor, protection, and purpose, all of which you walk with daily. These four pillars aren't just abstract concepts. They are the forces that guard and guide you. While others plot and scheme, they don't realize that their plans can't touch the divine assignment you've been given. The timing that governs your life is not theirs to dictate. Your path was laid out long before they ever tried to interfere with it. Every time someone doubts you or attempts to block your blessings, they fail to understand the bigger picture. You are walking a path that is protected by forces much greater than any obstacle they could place in your way. Your assignment, your purpose, is divinely ordained. When they try to manipulate or disrupt your progress, they aren't just facing you. They're going up against divine favor and protection. Their efforts are futile because they're trying to alter something far greater than themselves. Your spiritual assignment is untouchable. So while they waste their time plotting against you, you continue to rise higher, knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be, aligned with the divine forces that propel you forward. Point 3. God interrupted their script. Life has a funny way of throwing curveballs, especially when people think they've figured it all out. Some individuals, driven by their own insecurities or fears, make it their mission to hold you back. They might doubt your potential, plot against your progress, or try to shut doors on your dreams. They think they've got the upper hand, that they've mapped out your downfall. But here's the thing. When you're walking with purpose and aligned with divine timing, no human plan can hold you down. You see, there's a force at work far beyond what the eye can see. It's not just about being lucky or having a lucky break. It's about spiritual reversal, that moment when you were supposed to be knocked down but found yourself lifted up instead. That's divine interception at its finest. Every time someone tried to close a door in your life, God opened another one, a door full of opportunities, blessings, and connections you never even dreamed of. While they were busy plotting against you, life was rerouting you to places they never thought possible. Every lie they told, every false narrative they created was merely an opportunity for you to rise higher. Lies have a funny way of unraveling on their own, and in your case, they only served to elevate you to a place they never saw coming. While they were caught in their own web of deception, you were walking the path of truth, and the universe was aligning in your favor. They may have thought they were holding you back, but all they were really doing was providing the fuel for your ascension. And don't get it twisted, this isn't some coincidence or stroke of luck. This is divine intervention. God saw the intentions of those around you, and He didn't let them succeed. Every trap they set for you became a snare for them instead. Every plan they had to slow you down became the very thing that propelled you forward. Their actions were part of a greater plan to elevate you to a level they'll never understand. So while they sit in their regret, you rise higher. You stand strong in the face of adversity, knowing that it wasn't their power that dictated your path. It was your divine purpose, and God's hand was guiding you all along. Point 4, they couldn't handle your comeback. We all face moments in life that feel like the world is crashing down. Sometimes the very thing you think will break you, the worst day of your life, turns out to be the catalyst for something extraordinary. It's almost poetic when you think about it. The worst day doesn't break you. It births you. It's like the darkest hour before dawn, where the world tests your resilience, pushing you to a place you didn't know you could reach. That day, the one you thought would end everything, was actually the moment your true calling was activated. The people who doubted you, who thought you wouldn't survive the storm, couldn't see what was really happening. They didn't know that the challenges you faced were shaping you, sharpening you, and preparing you for your next level. Those tests, those painful trials, were actually the very tools God used to mold you into someone who could walk with purpose, power, and an unstoppable energy. They couldn't see that the worst day wasn't the end of you. It was the beginning of your true potential. It's no coincidence that when people saw you at your lowest, they didn't expect you to rise again. Many thought that was the final chapter. But instead of falling apart, you stood tall, grew stronger, and took everything that once held you down and used it to fuel your ascent. It was in that moment of despair that you found your clarity. The very pain that once felt like an insurmountable wall turned out to be a door leading you to your destiny. Now, when others see you glowing, growing, and walking with a sense of purpose, they stand in shock, asking themselves, how did this happen? They didn't realize that the darkest moments were the very soil in which your dreams took root. It's almost like they missed the transformation happening right in front of their eyes. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just endure, you became unstoppable. So while they sit back in disbelief, you keep pushing forward. With each step, you get closer to your fullest potential. Let them marvel at your growth. They may have underestimated you, but now they're witnessing the incredible force you've become. You were never meant to be stopped. You were born for greatness, and nothing, not even your worst day, could change that. Point 5, the darkness in them exposed the light in you. In life, there are moments when people will try to paint you as something you're not. Often, they'll label you as the villain, trying to twist your actions or words into something negative. It's an unfortunate reality of dealing with negativity and envy. But here's the twist. While they tried to tear you down, they unknowingly highlighted your authenticity. The beauty of being misunderstood is that eventually the truth comes to light. Those who once mocked or judged you couldn't understand your calm, your peace, and your unshakable grace. They tried to use their words and actions to provoke you, but the more they did, the more you glowed. It's in these trying moments that your true strength shines. Your ability to rise above gossip, to stay composed and focused on your higher purpose, becomes your testimony. People start noticing that despite the slander, you didn't lose your cool, you didn't retaliate. Instead, you simply kept moving forward, walking with the elegance of someone who knows their worth. What your enemies failed to realize is that their attempts to discredit you only drew attention to your authenticity. It became clear to others that you were not the villain, rather, you were someone who held themselves to a higher standard. When you operate with integrity, others will begin to see through the lies. They'll notice how, even in the face of adversity, you remained true to your values and kept your peace. They'll start to recognize that you're different, not because you tried to be, but because your light cannot be hidden. Divine One, the very people who sought to undermine you are the ones who, in the end, advertised your authenticity. Their efforts to bring you down only magnified your strength, your resilience, and your inner peace. Now everyone around you can see who you truly are, the one chosen to stand firm in their truth, even when the world tries to distort it. So don't be upset with the gossip or the false accusations. Be grateful. They've unknowingly paved the way for your true essence to shine brighter than ever. And now everyone knows who's really meant to rise. Point 6, their plan had no soul. The real T, why favor and energy win every time. Let's be honest, there's something powerful about watching things fall into place for you when others expected your downfall. The world is full of people who operate from pride, who think they can plot, plan, and power play their way to success. But here's the real T. Favor and aligned energy always win. You see, while they were busy pretending, finessing their image and chasing clout, you were fasting, praying, growing, doing the work nobody saw but heaven took note of. And that difference, it's everything. This isn't just feel-good talk, it's spiritual science. Studies in quantum physics suggest that energy isn't just abstract, it's influence. Everything vibrates, including your intentions. When you operate with purpose, your energy creates waves that draw divine order and synchronicity into your life. You didn't have to shout your worth from rooftops or manipulate people to see your value. Your spiritual alignment did the speaking for you. That's favor in motion. Subtle, powerful, undeniable. Now let's talk about the plotters, the ones who underestimated you, misread your calm as weakness, and tried to play chess while you were playing divine strategy. Their moves were built on ego, not elevation. And ego without spiritual roots is like building a house on sand. It might stand for a while, but eventually it crumbles under pressure. Favor, however, is like wind in your sails. It pushes you forward even when the odds say you should be stuck. And the irony, those who schemed against you end up learning the most, because God has a funny way of using your rise to humble your enemies and teach them lessons. So don't gloat, glow. Stay in alignment, keep your energy clean, and watch how the universe continues to show out on your behalf. Favor doesn't need fairness, it just needs faith. Point 7. You woke up and that was the real threat. There's a reason why some people want to keep you in the dark, in a state of confusion, or in a position where you're unsure of your own power. They don't want you to awaken. The truth is, your awareness, your growth, and your spiritual alignment with God are the most powerful threats to those who benefit from your ignorance. They don't mind if you stay stuck in old patterns, relationships, or beliefs, because it makes you predictable and manageable. But the moment you started to listen to your intuition, that little voice inside guiding you toward truth, everything shifted. You began to align with a higher purpose, one that was divinely orchestrated. As you cut cords with what no longer served you, as you raised your standards and started protecting your peace, something extraordinary happened. You became a force they couldn't control. You began walking away from situations, people, and mindsets that were holding you back. And with each step, you gained more clarity. You stopped explaining yourself, stopped justifying your actions to people who never truly understood you. That's when panic set in for those who had once tried to keep you in a state of unconsciousness. You were no longer a puppet to their schemes. The real gag, though, is that their master plan was never about outsmarting or beating you. It was always about keeping you asleep, distracted, doubtful, and disconnected from your divine potential. They feared your awakening more than anything, because once you realized your worth and your ability to align with the universe, there would be no stopping you. And now that you're awake, they're left with nothing but regret, while you rise higher in your purpose. Divine ones, listen. The enemy can write all the blueprints they want. They can gather, scheme, and even chant your fall into the wind. But when you're chosen, plans crumble, plots fail, and lies unravel. You are not here to blend in. You're not here to play small. You're not here to be understood by people who fear your truth. You are here to shift timelines, break chains, and lead generations. So stay awake, stay armored, stay elevated, because what confused them the most wasn't your pain, it was your peace. What silenced their whispers wasn't your fight, it was your favor. What flipped their master plan upside down was this simple truth: you were never meant to lose. Now let that sink in. Divine ones, if this video stirred something in you, if it confirmed what you already knew in your spirit, drop a flame in the comments. Share your story. Connect with your tribe. And remember, watch this again when you forget who you are. When the gaslighting gets loud, and when the shadows try to return, because your journey is holy, your walk is real, and your presence is proof that no plan against you shall prosper. Stay awake, stay chosen, stay dangerous. I'll see you in the next video, divine ones. Peace and divine power.